For today's headlines, Duterte confirms VP run. Sara's VP run to heed people's call. Saving Duterte's legacy goes priority. Malampaya takeover by government slammed. PDP Laban all out for Go-Duterte. Willie Ong warns possible COVID surge. Pilot in-person classes start today. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is November 15, 2021, and these are the latest news this Monday morning. In an interview with internet personality Banat Bayo on Saturday evening, President Duterte dropped hints confirming his possible run. He said he might lodge his candidacy only to show the public that he was not happy on the turn of events in the 2022 polls. President Duterte earlier accepted his party's nomination to run for vice president but had a change of heart at the last minute. He was replaced by Go, who turned emotional on Tuesday after telling the public to expect changes on his vice presidential bid. The same day, Duterte Carpio withdrew her candidacy for re-election for a third and final term as mayor of Davao City. The president also denied claims that he and his daughter had discussions, saying he only had confirmed Duterte Carpio's plan to run for a higher office when she filed for candidacy for vice president. Duterte then recalled meeting with Go after his emotional speech and disclosed it was him who motivated the lawmaker to run for president. While he did not mention if he will back his daughter, Duterte said he will not support former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s bid despite his cozy relationship with the former First Family. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio on Sunday said that her decision to run for vice president in the 2022 elections was an opportunity to heed her supporters' call to serve the country. Earlier, she filed her COC as Davao City Mayor, which she eventually withdrew. Her younger brother, Vice Mayor Sebastian Duterte, also withdrew his re-election bid and substituted her for the mayoral race in Davao City. Meanwhile, the 43-year-old Davao City Mayor appealed to her supporters to stay calm and distance from the issues within the Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan o PDP Laban. The problems of PDP are their own. Let them resolve the issues within their party. This is all politics and this will not matter in the years to come or even now, she said. She noted that the public must focus on more important things, the country's recovery and people's welfare. On Saturday, hours after Duterte Carpio filed her COC for vice president under Lakas CMD, Senator Christopher Bongo and Ronald Bato de la Rosa withdrew their presidential and vice presidential bid, respectively. Go, accompanied by President Duterte, filed his candidacy for president under the Federalismo ng Dugong Kilakilang Samahan, an ally party of PDP Laban. Saving Duterte's legacy is for Senator Christopher Bongo of paramount importance to him in his decision to seek the presidency and make the Filipino people the eventual winner in the exercise of democracy. Go pointed this out in his weekly column Going Forward, following his withdrawal from the vice presidential race and filing his certificate of candidacy for president Saturday at the Commission on Elections office in Intramuros, Manila. The Duterte administration has made many significant milestones that have benefited our nation, Go said. From his decisive leadership to the projects that commenced and completed under his watch, to the many programs that have improved the lives, especially of those who need our help the most, the poor, the needy, the hopeless, and the helpless, all of them being our priority in our endeavors in public service. Central to his candidacy, the senator said, are the principles of continuity, compassion or malasakit, and genuine service that the President Duterte has taught him for more than 2 decades of working with him. In reaching this decision, Go said ambition was the last thing on his mind, and the former presidential aide related how much President Duterte has given himself to the people. The senator said his focus now is to help the government and the people surpass the challenges they are facing towards a more resilient nation. As an elected senator, Go said he will continue to spend his time with those who are committed to serve, listening to their concerns and giving them hope of a brighter tomorrow. Tribune News on Q will be back after these short reminders.
Boto mo to Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. Surigao del Sur Representative Johnny Pimentel on Sunday warned of a possible billions of losses in government debt obligations once it pushes through with the previously planned takeover of Shell Petroleum N.V.'s 45% operating stake in the offshore Malampaya gas field. In a heated statement, Pimentel described the move as foolish, as it would easily force taxpayers to suffer another $1 billion or approximately 50 billion pesos in public debt obligations. There's no point in the government suddenly having to borrow and spend a lot of money to match any private party's offer to buy Shell out, he added. Pimentel, who is also the vice chairperson of House Good Government and Public Accountability Committee, reiterated that the government simply cannot afford to incur additional debt obligations now, considering its worsening budget deficit. The government reported an unprecedented 1.37 trillion pesos budget deficit in 2020 due to aggressive spending to fight the COVID-19 pandemic and stimulate the economy. The gap between government spending and income is expected to further widen this year after the Bureau of Treasury reported a 1.14 trillion pesos budget deficit from January to September. To recall, Eduardo Manyalak, former president of the Philippine National Oil Company or PNOC, said the government should acquire the stakes of Chevron and Shell in Malampaya instead of letting Davao-based billionaire Dennis Uy gain majority control of the gas field. He said the massive investment in the gas field was a big loss for the government. The Daily Tribune reached out to the Department of Energy for comment on the matter but to no avail as of press time. The Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan is happy with Senator Christopher Bongo's filing of his certificate of candidacy as presidential aspirant and will support President Rodrigo Duterte if he decides to run as vice president. This is according to the PDP Laban Secretary General Attorney Melvin Matibag in his interview with our morning show Gising Na upon answering the question if Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio's VP run will affect them.
Let me be clear, unang-una yung siguro yung pagpapail ni Senator Bongo ginamit na din niya hindi laban. Pero just the same, malinaw po yung aming pagkakasundo at aming mga alliance agreement that PDP will also be on the front line of the campaign of Senator Bongo. Kung sakali pong si Pangulong Duterte ay kumandidato sa anumang posisyon, ay nakasisiguro po ang kayo at ang Pangulo na susuportahan at itutulak namin po ay ang kandidatura ni Pangulong Duterte po.
Said in a meeting with Senator Manny Pacquiao that he will not support him. Aksyon Demokratiko Vice Presidential candidate Dr. Willie Ong warned of a possible surge in COVID-19 cases in the country in the next 2 months based on projections made the World Health Organization. Ong, a cardiologist and internist, said the WHO weekly epidemiological COVID-19 update reported Europe again was leading the world in percentages of new cases and deaths from the disease. COVID is on the rise again. In Europe, the death toll rose by 10% and the number of cases rose by 50%. In Germany, they are on a fifth wave, he said. The number of cases increased by 40,000 and their ICU are full again. They are short of health workers, and in France, it is also rising, Ong said. The WHO has spoken. America must get ready because it is now going there, and we in the Philippines, maybe in 2 months, our numbers will rise again. They have already issued a warning, he added. Ong issued the warning as he spoke before students and barangay workers in Cabuyao, Laguna as part of the listening tour and dialogue of Action Democratico candidates with various sectors. Joining Doc Willie and Action Democratico presidential bet Isko Moreno Dumagoso were senatorial bets Moro civic leader and women's rights advocate Samira Gutok, former Quezon City Councilor Jopet Season, and radio host and entrepreneur Car Balita. Tribune News on Hilo back. Stay with us.
Boto mo to Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
Boto mo to Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. The country is set to begin today the pilot run of limited in-person classes in selected public schools, 2 years after basic education institutions stopped classroom sessions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The pilot implementation will take place in 100 selected public schools, mostly in far-flung areas in provinces that are at low risk for COVID-19, which were selected by the Department of Education and Department of Health. Director Roger Masapol of the DepEd Planning Service said the resumption of in-person classes does not signal a return of pre-pandemic schooling. In-person or face-to-face classes will only complement distance learning modalities, with classroom sessions set to be held every other week. The return of the students is not fully face-to-face. The recommendation of DOH is 1 week of face-to-face, 1 week off in school, so it can alternate, Masapol said in an interview. Only students in kindergarten through grade 3, as well as senior high school students, will attend physical classes, which will have smaller class numbers. Schools have also made changes to their classrooms in order to adopt health measures and prevent the spread of COVID-19. School officials have said only vaccinated personnel can join the pilot run, while students must wear masks at all times on campus. Education Secretary Leonor Briones earlier instructed participating schools to establish contingency measures in the event of a COVID-19 outbreak. Education Assistant Secretary Malcolm Garma said once any participant develops symptoms or gets infected, schools will follow the usual DOH protocol for isolation and contact tracing. President Rodrigo Duterte initially approved only 120 schools for the pilot run, with 20 private schools set to begin their in-person classes on November 22. However, the DepEd announced on Friday he allowed more schools to be included in the pilot run. Additionally, schools will be named once they secure clearance from DepEd and DOH. But some groups remain unsatisfied with the program's preparations and guidelines. And that wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, Mary Kay, Araneta Center, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q, reminding you that we only have 40 days until Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.